Hello, this is my Sunday market breakdown, my weekend breakdown looking into next week. So starting off with the DXY, let's just remove that so we can see here that kind of still in this area where we've still kind of got this larger 1, 2, 3. Price has just been kind of correctively pulling back potentially into this area, so we could see a potential short-term short before we get that long up. And then we kind of evolve into that, and this becomes our middle section, and we end up taking out these highs for the larger sells. That is a plan. That's what I'm anticipating on the DXY. You can kind of see, obviously, we've had this near miss, we've near missed this to this area, so the likelihood that we fill in into this is quite high at the moment. And you can kind of see this is where we had that aggressive move last time, and we've just been pulling back for the next move to the upside. So that is looking nice. I won't delve into any more on that because I'm not really looking for positions on it. You can kind of see here that there is a potential. So we didn't tap into this area down here, but it is. You can kind of see that if we did end up getting something like this, it's a bit higher risk because obviously we haven't rejected off a key area because we've sort of near missed this little gap here. But you could look for the long there. Obviously you wouldn't. You'd be looking for the short on the dollar related pairs, euro dollar, Aussie dollar, pound dollar, etc. So lovely segue. Let's move into euro dollar. So I got a couple of forecasts for euro dollar. First off is I can kind of see this trending to the upside at the moment. So we can kind of see this pullback, larger pullback, and obviously we do have this high here where which is kind of like the catalyst of this larger move to the downside. So I wouldn't be completely against taking that. And then if we jump down to the 4 hour here, so there's two things I'm looking at. First off, I can kind of see that we've got this high here, we've got this sort of expanding moving into it. So I wouldn't be against if price did pull up, we break in, and then we get the push back in. I'd be looking for shorts in that area. Alternatively, if price did break up with momentum and then we form continuation above this high and above the expanding structure, then obviously you can look for the long to trade into those highs there, which would coincide with the short on the DXY. But also you can see on the 15-minute here that we have tapped into this little hook point area here, and now we've started to sell off, and it even sort of has an element of a 1, 2, 3 to it. You can see that there, like so, which does look decent. And then you can see we've kind of sold off on there. We've got nice momentum on the 1 hour, lovely momentum on the 4 hour, closing 50% of that, over 50% of that previous candle. I'll have to go to the 5 for this. Now what I like about this one is the hook point here is part of the structure itself. So what I'm looking for is for price to kind of fill this wick, and then we get that push up, and this would be kind of early market open. Yeah, be tonight sort of play where I'd be looking for price to come back into there. That's a 10 pip stop. So if you really wanted to, you could probably push for about an 8 pip stop. Don't recommend it, but in euro dollar, it's probably the safest pair out of the lot. So I could understand that thought process. And then alternatively, if price obviously doesn't, and let's say we spend a little bit more time down here creating that second bottom, and then we come up, then I'll be looking for the risk entry, because again, a 10 pip stop is plenty of room, and it still gives you 1.5. Like, yeah, you can still go for an 8 pip stop even with the risk entry lines without the sort of internal structure to it. But even that, you kind of still get this sort of internal structure to it. So that one, That's a play that I'm potentially looking for tonight on market open, because it's going to, if it's going to happen, it's going to move quick. It's going to be around 11 to midnight tonight if we get that entry. So yeah, eyes peeled on that one. And then Aussie yen. Let me just remove that entry off. What I like about Aussie yen, compared to the other pairs, is we do have this higher high that we could gravitate towards, because it is fairly close now. And at the same time, we're filling that wick. But how are we filling it? Well, we're getting this bullet. We closed quite bullish on the Friday, but we're moving into that area in the form of an expanding structure. So of course, I'd be looking for the sells in that area here. No, but I know that full well that we could move higher to tap into that next area. So if I drop down to the 1 hour now, I can see here we've had our first continuation, and then we're pushing up, and we're potentially getting our second continuation here. So this is what I meant by we can play the long. Actually, I'd be looking for a long here. This isn't the 1 hour, so you might be able to get in with a risk entry. If you get in with a risk entry with 10 pips up, then the risk reward is completely worth and valid taking that position, because you're getting almost a 5.5 to 1 to the top of the structure. And obviously, if it starts suddenly showing bearish signs, and we potentially are getting the turnaround for the short, then you can play that as well. But if it doesn't, and then price does break out of this and moves higher and tags into these highs, well, then you're in a phenomenal position, because now you're running. Now your target's looking at around 10%, or potentially going a bit higher to break the high. Then you're looking at about 12. So those are the two things I'm looking for on Aussie yen: either a flag here to move higher, potentially break this and move even higher, or we don't get this flag at all and price just continues up to there, and then we get the break back in, and then we get our flag for the short there. So those are my two key ones. EuroCAD, similar structure to last week. 1, 2, 3, bearish close at the top of there. We had a decent bearish weekly close as well, and we can see here that we've got all of this volume. That price has just broken through with decent momentum on the 4 hour, 2 4-hour strong bearish candles. So that's looking really nice. And then on the 1 hour, I'm now that we're trading below these lows, I'm not too, these aren't significant areas for me because it's so corrective, so I'm not too fussed about them on the way up. It's extremely corrective. Maybe I'd be looking at this one, because this is like the catalyst of, it was like a pullback into that larger run, so that's not the main one that I'd be looking for, but that's about it. And then on the 1 hour, a bit more visible on the 15, I'm basically just looking for price to form a flat 3-touch flag in this area. Then I'll be looking for a risk entry. You can get 1.7-ish, 1.8 to the low, and obviously if it drops out, then you're in a beautiful trade. So that's EuroCAD. Pound Swiss looking beautiful. Go to the weekly to start with. That weekly last week completely retraced the previous weekly. So we're in a very, very good area. The positioning is good. Sequence, let's have a look at the sequence. Obviously we've broken above. We can see the daily bearish candles looking very nice. Sequence is looking decent as well, where we've kind of had like our first little flag. This is technically, you could say, it's our first flag, and then we get the smaller flag just below. And then obviously now we're in the territory where we're getting these larger flags now that we're trading below the high that we saw on the daily just. So what I'm looking for here is more of a slightly more solid base, where I know exactly where our base is, but essentially they do line up. And again, this could just move higher from here, because that last candle was probably, it was just a market close. So if we then see price move up and we've tagged into that, there's no reason why you can't take that as a risk entry. And obviously, alternatively, if the risk entry isn't there, then you just wait for your pushing flag, and you probably get in slightly tighter, because maybe you get in with a 10 pip stop, and by the time you've hit that low at the bottom, you're running almost 5%. So very nice position. Looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. Aussie Kiwi. I get, yep, loving Aussie Kiwi at the moment. We have near missed that area, but we've got 3 bearish candle daily, sorry, 3 weekly bearish candles that have closed now. We are trading below this low here. And on the 4-hour, I'm going to take this off. But what I'm looking for is this 1, 2, 3. Ideally, we get a more significant second bottom. And then we get that push up to retest the back end of this wick, because we haven't technically retested it yet. And then I'll be looking for a risk entry in that area because of the retest. It gives me everything I need to take this position. And then we can see there, we do have the depth on the middle section as well. So looking very nice. Silver is another one that I really like. So I'm looking for the long and the short on this one. The short is a much shorter term one, much higher risk position. But essentially, if I go to the weekly, you can kind of see that price is trading above this high, and we've got all this volume here. And then on the daily, you can kind of see that we're starting to form this flag. We've had a really nice push out. So obviously we've had this 1, 2, 3 into this larger flag. So we could be seeing a break back in, or we get that continuation to go further. On the 4-hour, nice momentum into this low, very clear range that we're playing. And then on the 1-hour, what I'm looking for is to see if price does show any sort of signs of slowing down. So if we get this sort of corrective stance, we break into that area, maybe wick to that low there, so we kind of retest the back end of that. And then we get the push up, and then you get your continuation. And then obviously you can look for the long from there. Wait, you're on the 1-hour, so you probably go to the 15-minute, and then you'd be looking at, yeah, beautiful. I mean, just up to there with that, you're looking at 10 to 1. So that's the long, but on the 15-minute, given the fact that we've had momentum, and we've kind of tapped into this, and the momentum is very clear. I wanted to see if price would sort of slowly form this flat 3 touch, and if we did, then you'd be able to get in quite tight on the 15-minute, potentially even the 5, and then just to that low there you've got 3.5, so you can easily manage it, and then to that low down there you've got 5, and then obviously if this then becomes the one to break out, and all we've done here is kind of created this like scooping middle double top, and then we're breaking back in below these lows, then you're in a beautiful position, because obviously down to this little area here you've got 9 to 1, so both ways work, which is what I really like. I really like these positions where you can kind of play both the long and the short. So yeah, and we've got the additionals, and I'll fly through these a little bit quicker. So what I'm looking for on Aussie dollar is just more of a let it take a little bit more time, but I'm basically looking for price to come back into these highs here, and then looking for the continuation for the short back down to here. Alternatively, if we get momentum and we're trading above that area, because obviously we do have these high up here, if the DXY is showing signs that it's going to continue lower, then obviously I wouldn't be against like a 1-hour structure or 4-hour structure above that high. But that is the play for Aussie dollar. Pound CAD, I had to bring pound CAD on because this is such a valuable area. But you can see here we've got this weekly 1, 2, 3 into this high here where we saw that very aggressively last time. The only problem with pound CAD is it's not closed a bit. So we do have these wicks, which is quite nice. So we can see that price is slowing down. And then we did close with a bearish candle, but it has ended on a pretty big wick. And the 4-hour itself, the 4-hour and the 1-hour aren't really showing like this. This is not the price action you want to be trading. It's not clean. It's not nice. So all I'm waiting for is basically just going to wait to see if price breaks below this little area, and then we form a flat continuation with a 3 touch. Then I'll be happy to take that. Dollar CAD, a little bit better than pound CAD in my opinion. Again, we're just kind of in this range. We haven't really come close to that high yet. It's because obviously this is a daily, so that's still quite a big range. And And what I have noticed about dollar CAD is we had this little high here, we near missed it here, and then this high got near missed by this high, and then this high got near missed by this one, and this high got near missed by this one, and they've all sold off pretty aggressively. So, and they've all sort of formed like these continuations on the way down, you know. So what I'm waiting for now is I just want to see if price forms a 3-touch flag here, and if we'll retest the back end of that, then I would happily take the risk entry. So that's a 15 pip start, but you could probably get a little bit tighter, I say about 12. And it does give you a 5 to 5.5, 4.5 to 5.5 to the 1, depending on the stop size that you go for. So that I think is a beautiful. It could be a beautiful position, and obviously, if we then hit this low area here, and we are showing signs of turning around, and we get the flag, then obviously you'd be looking for the long, because essentially this could just be a larger buildup of volume to move higher into those highs. So that is looking decent. Pound dollar, really simple, really simple. What I'm looking for, we've got our hook point. You can see it on the daily there. There is a sort of expanding structure that's moving into it as well. Yeah, it's very sharp hook point. Kind of got that tiny one above as well. But all I'm waiting for on this one is for price to come in, kind of fill that tiny little near miss that we had to there. Give us a give us a push and flag on the 15-minute or the 1 hour, and then I'll be looking for entries on that. Alternatively, I know that price could move higher and we could be taking it to these highs there. But again, like, you can look for the longs, you just have to wait for a sign from the market to be able to do that. US 30, I've added US 30 on because of the momentum that we ended on last week. So the weekly, not showing, we can just see that we've got this heavy body. So yeah, not heavy body, sorry. Sort of like a hanging man style. Got my candles mixed up then. And then on the daily, we can see that this is huge bullish retrace, pretty much retracing the previous candle. So all I'm waiting for here, all I'm going to be looking for here is just a 1 hour continuation. Something with a tiny bit of depth, something, taking it on the 1 hour rather than taking it on the 15-minute, because obviously the 1 hour in this situation would hold more weight. So it would decrease the risk by taking a 1 hour flag. And obviously, if this is aggressive as a move down, then you're looking at 10 to 1s sort of thing, depending on the stop size that you go for. And then gold, final one with gold. So I'm looking at 2 potential outcomes on gold. I really like gold because we're kind of playing this range at the moment. Let's get that accurate. We are at all-time highs, but I can see, we had this high, we broke this high, we've pushed down, we're in a state of continuation. It's likely that we're going to fill this range and move lower. So what am I looking for on the lower time frames? So that's on the 1 hour. I'm looking for price to gravitate potentially back to this hook point, considering the fact that we near miss this and this is near miss this. I would like to see if price moves up, and if we do, and then we get the push and flag, then 100% I will be looking at that, because this is just a flag where we've near missed with the second touch, which gives us even more validity that this is probably more likely to happen to fill that gap. The higher risk play is on the lower time frame, where knowing that we don't actually need to come back up, and we can kind of see that we've got this sort of 1 2 3, we sold off into this next 1 2 3. It's a bit corrective, it's not the best. And you kind of see that we've kind of tagged into this tiny little hook point, which was sat just below this kind of consolidation area here. So what I'd be looking for is for price to give it a flat continuation like so, and then I would take a risk entry there, but it would have to be a flat continuation, and then you get 2.2 to the low, and then obviously to the main target, which would be down here, you get 9%, and then you can potentially pivot for the long. But yeah, that is my watch my top 6 and my additionals for the next week. I think there's some real good gems. Let's quickly go through them. So Aussie dollar, potential short-term short there, or the high short for the high short with the expanding or a break above flag. We got the potential long with the flag here, or the short from the expanding, or we break above and take the high. EuroCAD just looking for a flag below the volume. Looking for the expanding. Aussie Kiwi looking for the 1, 2, 3 to retest it back into that. Silver looking for a short-term short in there, or the long. Waiting for this high to come in. Waiting for price to drop out, see if we get a flag. Dollar CAD waiting for the flag there. Pound dollar waiting for price to come back into this high and then look for the pushing flag from the override. 1 hour structure only on that one, just because of we haven't rejected off anything, so we need a little bit more weight. And gold, if we pull back into that hook point or we get a flat flag here. And that is it for me. Thank you very much.